Hey, everybody, welcome in another episode talking all about lemons and love and wine. It's Renegade Lemonade. I'm Bruce Silverman. Thank you so much for being with us here. Guest today is George Thompson. He's the president of Pinnacle Imports. He is a distributor of wine. And George, really appreciate you being on today because I know you've got a really interesting story to tell.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So let's just jump right into it. You've been in the business for quite a while.
Correct. Yeah, we've been in the business for about 11 years. Pinnacle Imports was founded back in 97. I got involved in 2012. So yeah, been in the business for quite a while.
And in that time, you distribute wines throughout the state of Alabama.
That's correct. Yeah, wine and craft beer.
And obviously, you carry a tremendous amount of brands, names that people recognize instantly. Some are more on the obscure side.
Yeah, so I think probably more of our portfolio lends itself to the obscure side, where we kind of pride ourselves on having a hand-picked and a well-crafted portfolio. But that kind of means that we've got a lot of products that require hand selling. We do have some that have a lot of nationwide recognition and regional recognition, but our sales team is really talented and knowledgeable and equally adept at selling the easy stuff and the more obscure stuff.
I know you got a really interesting story about how you connected with Renegade. So let's just jump right into it. You don't know Renegade. I'm not even sure if you even know lemon wine. And all of a sudden, somebody calls you and makes the introduction, and not the other way around. That is pretty cool, because I got a feeling that's not necessarily how this business works.
Yeah, a fair amount of it can be word of mouth introductions, and it is this business people cycle through, and many of the folks we work with have worked in the restaurant industry and the retail industry, and so there's just a great kind of collaboration there. My first experience with Renegade Lemonade was one of our sales director, Carolyn Vizina, blind tasted me on the Renegade Lemonade, and she asked me what I thought it was. She didn't even tell me it was lemon wine. I just knew that it was really tasty. We started talking, and she filled me in. She had been in contact with Jim Opaleski, who's our representative from Old Bridge Cellars, which is an Australian importer. And Jim actually worked with Brady in the restaurant industry, I believe, in Florida years ago, and connected with him after doing some market work in Georgia. And as he was working the market with his products, he kept seeing Renegade Lemonade all over Metro Atlanta, and the retailers that he spoke to indicated that they just couldn't keep it in stock. And so he has no financial relationship or arrangement with Brady and Alex. He simply just knew that this was a great product, and one that with our relationship, he entrusted us with that introduction, and said that, thankfully, that we'd be the right fit for Brady and Alex, and the rest is kind of history.
It's funny how things work out in business,
right?
Happenstance, seeing Renegade all over the place, turning the label around, seeing Brady's name, going, "Hey, wait a minute, I know that guy." And now you distribute them throughout the state of Alabama. How is it to work with Alex and Brady?
Yeah, they're great. They're really energetic. They're excellent marketers. I mean, you can tell when you meet them for the first time. They are dyed in the wool kind of Renegade Lemonade marketers, I guess you could say. They really are passionate about this. They are great with customers. We've had them come to, our relationship's not that long. We brought the lemon wine, the Renegade Lemonade, in maybe not even 60 days ago, and they've been to the state at least twice that I can recall. They're coming again next week or in the next couple of days, maybe, to work with some of our sales team. But they're just really engaging. really kind people that make this industry fun. There's a lot of different personalities in the beverage industry, some serious and not so fun, and some that are passionate and serious and a lot of fun. And I would say they're the latter.
So the proof, as they say, is in the pudding. But I guess my real question is, the proof is also in the sales. How tasty are the sales for your company?
Yeah, I mean, I think when we tasted it as a team, after the first time I had tasted it, we brought in some more of our management team, and a few of them, you could just see kind of the light bulb go off in their eye. And I think they started hearing cash register sounds or something, kind of like the old cartoons. We knew that this was an innovative product that was going to capture a lot of interest. But I think still it's even surprised us, just kind of the amount of saturation we've been able to achieve thus far with Brady and Alex's help. The sales been great. We're on our second order already. We've probably gone through 3 or 4 pallets in the time that we've had the wines, the Renegade Lemonade here. So yeah, it's been great.
So when you talk about your relationship is only 60 days, is that 60 days from first taste to today?
No, I think I don't remember the exact day we tasted it, but the way things work in our industry, from the first time we get some exposure to a new product, it might take a little while in order for the product to make it into the warehouse. There's compliance, and there's TTB and state registration that's required. And then obviously we've got to fit it in with our sales plan. And we wanted to make sure that when we got it in stock, we had a sales meeting scheduled on the books so that they could come in pretty quick order and introduce the brand, because obviously they're going to be the best advocates for it. And we timed it pretty well. I said 60 days, but honestly, I don't even think it had been that long. We probably got our first order the week before the Masters golf tournament in Augusta, Georgia. And as you may know, obviously lemonade is really popular in the South. With Renegade Lemonade, there's a ton of different applications that you can use the lemonade for, whether it's Arnold Palmer, as we like to call it, John Daly, or other lavender lemon cocktail spritzes, stuff like that. And so it was well timed from that standpoint, and the market's really responded.
Yeah, you talk about it can't be 60 days. I'm doing the math real quick in my head. Masters first weekend in April. We're in the middle of May right now. That's barely 6 weeks.
Yeah. Just felt like 60 days with the rest of everything else we got going on, I guess.
No, that's great. So obviously Renegade Lemonade has been a good product to have in your portfolio. What would you say to other distributors when they're considering taking on more products, and most specifically taking on Renegade for their distribution and for their bottom line?
Sure. I mean, I think one, Alex and Brady are really great folks to work with. And, in this business, you can find suppliers that really try and extract their pound of flesh and don't really care for your margin and your business. And they're not that. They care about how much money, the distributor can make on a certain product. They're good about that aspect. I would say this to the distributors and customers that we'd like to get Renegade in front of. It's don't look at it just for what it is as a lemon wine. It's got so many different applications. We've got a small little wine bar down in Auburn, Alabama, that in one night, they maybe have like 25 seats, and in one night went through 5 or 6 bottles and made 45 drinks. And so it's good for our bottom line. It's good for the customer's bottom line. And in a state like Alabama that's controlled, where we don't have the opportunity to sell liquor as a distributor, it's a great add to the portfolio because it has some of those characteristics, those mixology kind of characteristics that we can introduce to customers, and those wine bars that don't have liquor licenses can definitely utilize this similarly to how they might utilize spirits.
Let's finish up with this one last question. If you have any advice to companies like yours, restaurants, you mentioned golf, so the country clubs, everything of those sorts, what would you say to those decision makers when they're presented with the opportunity to do business with Renegade Lemonade?
Well, if they're presented with the opportunity and they get to taste it, I probably don't need to say much because it really is that compelling of a product. The price is good. Like I said, the application ability to use it in many different ways is equally intriguing. I would just say go into it with an open mind. It is totally opposite of how we view hard lemonade from the past. That's malt based. This is a different product. It's very well made. And it's great. It's got great balance. It's got some sweetness to it, but it's got some acid to back it up. I mean, you could pour it on ice and just drink it out on the back porch on a hot afternoon, and be just as happy as if you were going to mix it and do something else with it. So I guess that's what I would say.
Well, in the South, we know how hot it gets. We know how refreshing Renegade Lemonade could be. It reminds me of that scene out of Fletch, where they ask, "Do you want lemonade?" They bring it out, and it's so hot that the straw just keeps melting away.
Yeah.
And so I always like to make those movie references, and definitely you made it. You talked about the South, but Renegade is really something that will be tasty any part of the country, and always a cool and refreshing drink.
Yeah, absolutely.
To quote Eddie Murphy from a stand-up special a long, long time ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's George Thompson. I'm Bruce Silverman. Thank you so much for being with us. Again, Renegade Lemonade, if you have an opportunity to taste it, you are absolutely going to love it. If you have an opportunity to do business with Alex and Brady, you're going to like the tasty returns as well. So thank you so much for being with us, and we'll see you next time. Love and lemons, they do start with L.
Thanks, Bruce.